Hi guys, welcome back to DeFi Daily. Today we'll do something different. We will not talk about a layer 1, not even a promising protocol, and not even about technicalities. What we'll go through today is about Luna, UST, but from a human behavior point of view. Because what happened is quite impressive. We had a $40 billion market cap, an ecosystem that was worth so much, that crashed so fast, reaching zero in no matter what. How it is possible? Because that's the most important part. We weren't talking about a meme coin, we were talking about a project that were into the top 10 of the market capitalization ranking. But even so, it didn't prevent it to crash. And what we have to understand is that in the moment when we are talking about an ecosystem that had many investors behind, it means that also many players made some kind of due diligence on it. One of them is, for example, Binance, that has invested something like 3 million in the 2018, and at a certain point they had something like 1.6 billion of dollar of holdings on this ecosystem. Not to mention that also a couple of some times ago they were also discussing for a possible upgrade of their investment, adding on top another $300 million into this project. At the end it didn't go through. But the point is that how it is possible that happened, and how it is possible that even if many people made due diligence, we hadn't enough warning signs and we weren't able to stop this crash. In order to understand it, I want to use this chart. This chart, I think, that is telling us quite well the story of Luna and the Terra ecosystem. This is the chart, the market capitalization of UST. As you can see, this chart is starting by October 2020, and for a year everything was going smoothly. The growth was organic and not exponential, even if in about 1 year and something the capitalization was able to reach from 0 to around 2.5 billion. The point is that in that moment, until that moment, we were talking about a project that was under a controlled growth. So it wasn't scaling, it was just growing organic, and that's much easier to manage. Not to mention that smaller is the market capitalization of the stablecoin, also easier it is to defend it, because one story is to back something that has just around 2.5 billion. Another story is to defend something that has almost 19 billion of market capitalization. And it is even more complicated if you think that it has gone from 2.5 to 19, so like a 7x in just a couple of months. So the growth was exponential at that point. On the other side, we have also to remind that smaller is the market cap, also smaller is the gain for a possible attacker that is deciding to attack this stablecoin, destroying it at the end of the story. Because if the market cap is just 2.5 billion, the amount of gain that you can obtain from it, it is much lower, and so also the interest to attack this kind of ecosystem is quite lower. So this is something that is important to understand, because the turning point is this one by the beginning of November. And in order to understand what happened, we need to understand also how our mind is working. First of all, we need to remember that we are all affected by nature by the recency bias. So it means that we are reminding what happened just in the last couple of days, and seeing a project that had like 1.5 year of history, it's telling us, or at least we are perceiving it due to this bias, as more secure than a project that has just a couple of months of history. But the point is that what we are missing, and the reason why this kind of bias is destroying and ruining our perception, is that in this point, no matter what happened into the last couple of years, in this point, everything is changing, because one point is having an organic and a linear growth, another story is scaling up and having an exponential growth. The risk connected to this second one is much higher. In order to better understand how our mind works, we can also use this chart here. Our memories are not the average of our experience. And that's something that is really important, because if, for example, some of us has entered and was quite skeptical about the project because it was saying, yes, but this kind of stable coin, that it is an algorithmic stable coin, it could be risky. What will happen in case of a bank run? And it was thinking, and maybe at the beginning he said, okay guys, maybe it's better not to invest. At a certain point, there is the bias. And the bias is that you are saying, okay guys, but maybe I was wrong, because this project has been able to survive for so long. Maybe it is not so risky. At the same time, seeing that the adoption is increasing, we are all feeling more secure. And that's something that it is affecting us by nature. Being together in something makes us stronger. But the point is that it is making us also more blind. And that's what is really unfortunate. There is another point that we have to remind, because yes, this is also the chart that is showing us how our memories are working and how they can trick on us. But on the other side, there is something that is even more important, and is about ideas. Because the point is that in the moment when we were talking about UST, we were not only talking about a stablecoin like any other stablecoin. We were talking about a decentralized stablecoin. The decentralized stablecoin that has been able to receive so much hype and to attract so many people. And in that moment, for all the last year, we were all facing the crisis of Tether, all the FUD and all the attack by the governments about the possible regulation of stablecoins, about Tether, USTC, and so on. And they were trying to say, okay, Tether is not backed for real by the assets that they are pretending to have behind the USDT, and so on. So in that moment, the whole community was looking for an alternative. And all of us were fascinated by the idea of having a decentralized stablecoin. Because what is better than having a decentralized stablecoin on an ecosystem that is aiming to be decentralized and not anymore centralized and just controlled by someone, like it could be a Tether of the government or any other player that is trying to control this kind of situation. And no matter if the reality is that in the moment when we are talking about UST, we weren't talking about something that was so decentralized, because the influence of DoKwon, of Terra Labs, and also the Terra Foundation Guard was quite high. But even so, the narrative behind UST and Luna was so powerful that unfortunately most of us felt in love with it. I don't like you, but I love you. And I think that this sentence is so representative of what happened. I don't like you because I know that an algorithmic stablecoin could be dangerous, but I love you because you are representing, you are so meaningful, and you are representing exactly what we are looking for into this environment. Nothing is better for a DeFi, so for decentralized finance, than having a decentralized stablecoin and not only a centralized like would be Tether and so on. And that's the reason why maybe we didn't like it, but we for sure loved it. And the reason is because it was representing everything that the whole community was looking for. That's also the reason why we had so many big players that were investing on it, because the idea was exactly what we were looking for. On the other side, it's also undeniable that as by nature, as by design, us as human beings are having the tendency to follow leaders. And in this case, we had DoKwon that put his face and started to scream, to talk, to be so loud into the community. And after everything that happened with Andre, with Danielle and so on, having another leader, another face to trust. And if I think about it right now, it is impressive. Because the reality is that we didn't know anything about DoKwon. Yes, he was the founder of Terra, Luna USD, and all of these projects were so successful. But the reality is that we knew nothing about his past, about all the difficulties that he had to go through, all the different kind of relationships between investors and so on. And we have been following him, and so many people has just been clapping to him just because by design we have this human tendency to follow a leader. And this is something that is even more impressive if you look at this profile on Twitter. I don't know if you have been following it. He is FatMan, and he is one of the main voices right now that is telling what happened with Terra, Luna, possible conspiracies, and so on. I want to say that I like this profile. I'm following it. I have been reading almost all of his tweets. But on the other side, the reason why I have been so impressed, it's not really by him, but about how people are reacting on his tweets. I have been reading something, but for which reason you are thinking that FatMan should be put his reputation on the stage, ruining it just to spread some kind of fad? And I was thinking, guys, we are really talking about an account that is anonymous, that has been created just a week ago, that has been talking by around 2 weeks. What kind of reputation we are talking about? And we are coming back to what we were saying just a moment ago, in the moment when we were talking about our memories are not the average of our experience. We are just being blinded for the simple reason that he has been the voice right now. But the reality is that we know nothing about him. And at the same time, same story applies. We love ideas, even if we don't like them. We don't like the idea of having him as a completely anonymous person that we don't know nothing about him. But on the other side, we love the idea of having a hero, of having someone that is spending his time to defend the community, to defend the poor people that has lost so much. I want to add that I don't have anything against FatMan, that he is doing a great job. I love what he is saying, or at least most of the time, because sometimes what he's saying, I don't have the tools to say if it is wrong or right. He's just sharing news info, but without some real proof. I hope that he will be able to prove it into the short term. I would also be more than happy to interview him if he wants, because the topic and all the contents that he is able to create right now, it is great. And yes, we need more discussion about it. The reason why I was telling you this story about FatMan, about this bias that all of us have been affected about ideas, leaders, and so on. Because I truly believe that what we can learn from this situation is that, okay, with any probability, we will not be able to regain our funds. This is something that has gone forever. And this is really something that all of us are sorry and we are suffering for it. The point is that even if we can't change the past, we can learn from it. And if we are able to learn more about us as human beings, because this kind of bias, the recency bias, the fact that we are loving ideas, even if we don't like them, we are loving them. The fact that we are needing leaders, heroes like FatMan and previously DoKwon. That's what we are. And the more we are knowing ourselves, the better we'll be able to manage our investment, because investing is not just a matter of finding the next gem. It's much more a matter to knowing ourselves and to be able to manage our feelings, because most of the time they are tricking us and they are getting us blind, no matter how many warnings we had. Guys, let me know what you think about this bias that all of us are having. Feel free to share your ideas. I will be more than welcome to listen them. And remember, if you enjoy this content, please leave a big thumbs up and drop a comment. That's just a small effort for you, but really means a lot to me and also for the people that are working with me. Guys, thank you for following me, and I will see you tomorrow in another video. Bye.